For the first time ever, the World Championship will take place in Europe as Nice co-hosts the VinFast IRONMAN World Championship.
Today marks the culmination of the VinFast IRONMAN World Championship season. The best female professional triathletes compete for the ultimate honor.
It's a world championship, and that's really something that motivates me to dig extremely deep.
So I'm certain that a lot of people want to put me in my place.
You know, I go in and it's just try and rip everyone else's legs off.
It's gonna get really hard out there. My training is about preparing myself to be mentally strong enough to say yes to those hard moments.
I'm suffering like hell, but I always say to myself, okay, the others suffer more.
All eyes are on this race, and it either brings out the best in athletes or people just will crumble and fall apart.
I want to show people that it's hard because, yeah, otherwise everybody would do it, I guess.
After more than 40 years of staging the IRONMAN World Championship on a single day in Hawaii with both professional and age group men and women all racing together, IRONMAN broke with tradition and made a really game-changing decision. They announced that they would split the men's and women's races into 2 separate days of racing for the 2023 IRONMAN World Championship.
So the news that Ironman was going to be splitting the World Championship between Nice and Kona this year came with a pretty big bang around the world.
The big news this week, Ironman have at last announced
we're going to split the event.
That men's race being held in Nice, France.
Half of last year's competitors will compete in Kona.
It's going to be in Nice in September.
I don't think the idea of splitting it is a good one.
Let's just start with what everyone is talking about the most, moving away from Kona for the men.
It's been quite a week for you and everybody at Ironman headquarters, hasn't it?
It's been quite a couple of months ever since Kona in the beginning of October. But yes, last week was eventful.
One of the things that we learned in the 70.3 World Championship is how important it is to have 2 days of racing, to have a day for women and a day for men, and that it enhanced the racing experience for the athletes. It allowed us to put a spotlight on women's racing in particular in a way that we've never been able to do. And we had that opportunity in 2022 in Kona.
We had 2 days of racing, which was fantastic in Kona last year in 2022, a women's day and a men's day, and then that was just too many people for such a small island. And so the island said, we just can't handle this, which I understand. Like, it's a very small island. And so they were left kind of with a choice. Do we sort of go backwards and take away kind of this progress that we've made to have more and more people doing this amazing thing, and kind of try to decrease the number of people and go backwards into one day, or do we find a unique solution? And so this year, that's women in Kona, men in Nice, France, and next year we'll switch.
It's the perfect place to relax, a magnificent location on the French Riviera. But these days, it's also the home of something considerably less relaxing, the Nice Triathlon.
Nice has an amazing history in long-distance triathlon. Starting in 1982, the Nice International Triathlon, along with the Ironman World Championship, was among the most important races in the world.
Any World Championship has to be a very
physically challenging, demanding course. Like in Kona, the course is demanding because of the heat, the humidity, the wind, just the starkness of riding through lava. And on the marathon, you're running out there on lava by yourself. There's no support. It's you and the island. This is a very different kind of challenge. Nice is right on the beautiful Mediterranean, but something that most people don't see about the Mediterranean, no matter what direction you're swimming, it feels like you're going against the current. This such a world-class course is clearly the bike ride. It's 180 kilometers, 112 miles of very challenging, absolutely gorgeous terrain. But very demanding. You have to be able to climb, you have to be able to handle your bike on very critical descents. And not only that, but you have to do all of that fast, but then pace it so that you can run a marathon.
Take the Kiwi out of it. Good one.
It's my favorite race. Just got my new bike for race day.
At the beginning, I was a little skeptical, I'll be honest, but having arrived here and having seen the course, having felt the vibe, looking at the history, I have to admit that it's pretty spectacular. It's pretty cool.
I think it's good to mix up the types of courses, because as we know, Kona is very specific. Different athletes will do better on this course.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be part of this new opportunity of racing in France and Nice and Europe. I mean, look at the place. It's freaking awesome, yeah.
I mean, we're here in paradise, but what we actually do is we get ready for hell. You know, it's not.
Women's sport is in a new era, and we've seen it with the Women's World Cup this year. We've seen it with the Tour de France Femme for a couple of years. And like, giving women their own platform is the future.
Our racing is just as dynamic, is just as gritty. We've got just as much personality and characters and things to bring to the sport that maybe got taken away when you're racing alongside the men.
It's celebrating the community of women who do triathlon. And I think on race day, it's gonna be like the biggest party possible.
There has been so much hype and excitement, and I think the fact that the field is so deep, you can't argue with it. Like, there's so many amazing women on this start line, and I'm just really excited that we can have our own day and show that women are pretty badass at this sport as well.
You've got a bunch of folks gathered together after a running race. They're at a bar in Honolulu, and the conversation comes up as to who's the fittest athlete. Is it a swimmer, a biker, or a runner? Somewhere along the line, Commander John Collins says, why don't we put together the Waikiki Rough Water Swim, the Around Oahu Bike Race, and the Honolulu Marathon? Whoever can do all of that stuff will be an Ironman.
That's right. Whoever falls across the finish line first, we'll call him the Ironman.
78 was all guys. There's 15 starters, 12 finishers, all men. 1979, this woman named Lynn Lemaire, who had a swimming background, I think she was a national time trial champion in cycling, she was the only woman, and she's one of the first people out of the water. She ended up 5th, but she was 2nd at one point during the race, which showed from the very beginning that women weren't just going to be participating, they were going to be kicking ass and taking names.
Sylviane Puntos will set a new women's world record.
Women have been a critical component to the growth of our sport. Julie Moss, obviously, crawling across the line in 1982. Paula Newby-Fraser winning this race 8 times.
You have to sign up, months in advance. You don't just show up to a beach. I mean, thousands of people, it's their dream. Ironman and triathlon's cool because, the age groupers are out there racing the same course, the same day as the professionals. You would never see a fan hop in and, scrimmage with the NBA players.
The whole 2.4-mile swim, 112-mile bike, 26-mile run, you have to finish in 17 hours.
It was always a big deal to just qualify for Kona, and it was a mark of respect from all of your fellow triathletes.
Just like their age group counterparts, the professionals have to qualify for the World Championship. To do so, they need a top result, usually a podium finish at one of the Ironman qualifying races around the world.
Now it's this worldwide phenomenon. I mean, you have races across almost every continent.
In total, more than 5,000 athletes have earned a qualifying spot for the VinFast Ironman World Championship, held in both Nice and Kona. They represent the 3% of racers that actually make it to this prestigious World Championship.
When you see someone at the start of an Ironman, you are looking at someone who has been through months, if not years, of training. You'll have people training anywhere from, I mean, really the bare minimum of 20 hours to, as much as 40 hours a week, while still going to work, taking care of their kids, being with their family. It's a huge commitment even before you set foot in that water on race day.
Looking ahead to Nice, the pro men's field, about 50 guys, is super exciting.
Morning, boss. Good morning. How are you? I'm doing great. Let's have a great race today, all right? Thanks.
With a collection of absolute rock star athletes lining up. We have an Olympic gold medalist, past world champions, and racing on this Nice course, it's going to be nothing short of epic.
The main focus is it's the last dance for Jan Frodeno.
This is a man who is an Olympic gold medalist, 70.3 world champion, Ironman world champion.
Jan Frodeno, Germany!
And in arguably the most competitive era so far of triathlon at each one of those distances.
The community of the triathletes in Germany, they all hope for the fourth star for Jan Frodeno. Of course, we have Patrick Lange, who maybe can run 10 minutes faster than all the other guys, but all the other guys know that.
Sam Laidlow was, for many people, a big surprise in Kona last year.
Thank you. Enjoy.
Thanks.
That really put him very much on the stage around the world, but now he's living the challenge of that. It's one thing to finish on the podium. It's a whole nother thing to do it again.
Welcome to the 2023 VinFast Ironman World Championship. Standing by right now, Australia's Cam Wurf is going to definitely shake it up today. And
Cam Wurf is another guy who I think brings a lot of excitement to the sport because he's kind of a freak.
It's a really good course. I mean,
Anyone who can be on a pro tour team and not just some domestique at the back, but a guy who's like really pulling his weight and helping out his pro tour team, and then goes and like dabbles in the top of the world of pro Ironman triathlon and still does super well. That's another guy who's very dangerous on race day.
I know what I'm in for. Looking forward to racing it on Sunday, that's for sure.
Denmark's Magnus Ditlev is a name on everyone's lips. He's still relatively new, but he's putting down absolutely mind-blowing bike splits and is mixing it up with the best guys in the sport. And talking about exciting new talent, we've got American Matthew Marquardt.
Morning. Good to see you.
This guy, who happens to also be a full-time medical student, is just doing incredible things considering how new he is into the sport, just 2 years into doing triathlon. Also racing under the American flag is another podium contender in Rudy von Berg, who actually grew up in Nice and knows the course better than anyone else.
I think we're drawing on a bit of a blank canvas here. We have the local favorites who know and breathe this kind of course, but they've also never been up against a world-class field on this kind of course. And I do think that's gonna provide all kinds of excitement. You know, an amazing opportunity to share which will be my personally last journey with people along the course.
Of our swim star corrals, and we'll see that our PCHC and ID athletes.
On the women's side, we keep hearing that this year's field could be the best to ever line up in Kona. And with 40+ years of legendary performances here, that's saying a lot. About 50 of the best female triathletes in the world will be taking on this brutal course and the equally brutal competition.
You've got Chelsea Sodaro, who's won here. You've got Annie Hogg, who's won here. You got Daniela Reef, who's won 4 times here and 5 times overall. You've got all these known commodities at this distance, and then you toss a Taylor Knibb into the mix, who's never run a marathon, who's never done an Ironman, but she's got raw speed.
I hope you enjoyed the race.
Oh, I'm nervous. Thank you for being here.
You look at Lucy Charles-Barclay, who's finished second here 4 times, and you kind of think, you know, how determined is she to finally take this win?
Laura Philipp, she knows that she will win here one year. She has a good combination of her bike and run skills, and I think she never proved how fast she can run if she's forced to. Maybe forced to by Anna Hogg.
I think when you have an athlete who has gone through hell, when you have a Kat Matthews who 10 days before this race last year got hit by a car and was in a neck brace and seriously could have been paralyzed. She just got second at 70.3 Worlds, which I think gave her so much confidence.
We're in for a groundbreaking day in so many different ways, a women's only event, but also a groundbreaking day just in terms of the field that we have here and the depth of this field and just the way this race is going to shape out, I think is going to be really exciting.
Whoa! Whoa!
So if I drive this thing 150,000 miles.
Battery's covered.
1,000,000 miles?
Yep.
Whoa.
Open up the sky, 'cause I'm coming up to you. So send down your wings and let them bring me to you. You know I'm standing at the station, ready to go. Oh, big old aeroplane, I'm trusting your soul. Get on up, big bird.
You know, and we know. The thing about challenging yourself is you're always looking for what's next.
We are getting ready for the 2023 VinFast IRONMAN World Championship in Nice, France. And the beautiful Nice.
The final minutes of anticipation before the race start can feel excruciatingly long. It's just the culmination of so much. So much preparation and anticipation, so much expectation and hopes.
The mental side makes up a lot of whether you succeed or fail. There is just so much self-talk going on.
Yes, it's a stress, but it's a good stress also because it's the time to show how it's possible to do.
It's been a childhood dream of mine, and I'm ready to give whatever my body has to offer on a day.
can almost get a little bit emotional sometimes thinking about what you are going to do and knowing what you are in for.
As they get ready to perform for you this morning, Lisa Laidlow.
Iron friends, Iron families, our Ironman athletes, so please get ready to cheer on your top 10 professional athletes.
You're just trying to stay as calm as possible. Like, your heartbeat can really be in your mouth with nerves, with excitement.
I'm choosing to be in that moment and trying to sort of hone back into that present moment, the now.
The fact that everyone's watching and everyone's at the highest level, it just lifts me personally.
Should I allow myself to actually enjoy the moment and be proud of myself that I'm here?
To stay within myself, to believe that I can do it.
I have a ton of nerves before the race starts, but when I jump in the water, it brings me an immense sense of peace.
Our athletes now making their way to the swim start. Let's give them one more big.
You are now in the hands of the starter. Please move back.
We are racing the 2023 VinFast Ironman World Championship.
Our professional men are racing. Can you make some
With the historic Ironman World Championship race day finally here, you can just feel the weight of the moment. There are more than 2,000 athletes starting each of these races, and each has their own unique reason for being here. But what they all have in common isn't just a life-defining and hard-earned opportunity to race the World Championship. They're all here to test their limits of body and mind among the world's best. They know the experience is going to teach them something new about themselves, and they're going to have some new self-knowledge they just don't get any other way except for overcoming the countless hurdles the day will present them. For many of them, like 49-year-old Sarah Whittingham, a doctor from Aurora, Ohio, this race is also a way to take control of their story. To say, this is what I can do. Today, no one but me gets to decide what I can or cannot do. I'll be the judge of that. It's the ultimate mic drop.
I noticed I had a tremor in my left arm. You guys ready? What's that? And I knew that that was not normal. That started the pathway of leading to my diagnosis. For somebody like me who's super active all the time, the thought of not being able to do that anymore was heartbreaking. We all have a window that we don't know how long it's gonna be, but I feel with Parkinson's, it's really made me think about all the things that I do want to accomplish in my life. You know, I'm not only racing myself, but I'm racing this disease. I'm Sarah Whittingham. I'm 49 years old. I'm an anesthesiologist at Cleveland Clinic Marymount Hospital. I am incredibly proud to have served 20 years in the Air Force and having graduated from the Air Force Academy. I've done things that I never in my wildest dreams thought that I would do, from jumping out of airplanes, flying gliders, flying in the backseat of F-16s. I decided to go serve as a flight surgeon for a couple of years first. It was something that always kind of appealed to me, being a primary care doctor for the pilots and getting to fly in some of the fast jets with them. So I did my first Ironman my 4th year in medical school. Went to New Zealand and did Ironman New Zealand. Doing endurance races has taught me a lot in the way that a race and training for a race mirrors life in general, in that the mental toughness and being prepared to deal with, you know, things when they hurt and to move forward has helped me deal with things in life that may not be so easy.
We were sitting in the living room, and I was watching her arm shake. This was just a few years ago. And I looked at her and said, "How long's that been going on?" She said, "Oh, just a couple of days or a week. It's probably just electrolytes." And I said, "Sarah, that's never a good sign."
Look towards you. Before Sarah became a patient of mine, she was a colleague and a friend. She approached me in the hospital about a tremor that she was having in her left arm. We were able to figure out eventually that what she had was Parkinson's. Parkinson's disease is an illness in which the brain fails to regulate movement properly.
I was pretty devastated when I was first diagnosed with Parkinson's. I was thinking that I was going to need to no longer be able to do the job that I loved, and I was heartbroken. It really, you know, kept me up at night and, you know, wondered what my life would be like and what you know, if I was going to have somebody taking care of me in just a couple of years.
I wondered what the future was going to be like, but we're committed. We support each other. I didn't know if 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I was going to have to stop working and be a caregiver. I didn't know if I was going to be pushing her in a wheelchair, and I still don't. So we don't know what the future holds. All we can do is try and control the now.
Well, when we first found out that she had Parkinson's, it was a little scary because we didn't know what it was. So we would go online and research all that we could about it. Working out is like kind of a way to like help it. She's been going to workout programs every week, and she's been running a lot, and that's been really helping, so.
I was super fortunate to come across this cycling trial that Dr. Jay Alberts put together at Cleveland Clinic.
Early results of that study are very promising in terms of showing that exercise actually does slow the progression of the disease. And that's a big deal because to date, there haven't been any medications or surgical procedures that have been shown to be effective in slowing progression down.
I realized that the more I rode the bike, the better I felt. And so I continued to ride it more and more and more. And over the course of the study, I was, you know, got up to riding the bike for an hour at a time. And I had the thought, you know, if I can ride the bike for an hour, I can probably ride the bike for 3 hours. That kind of got me into the mindset that maybe I could finish a half Ironman.
We both ended up qualifying for the Ironman 70.3 World Championship in St. George. We decided that we needed to do more. She needed to do more. And then she started looking at the goal of doing a full Ironman again, something she hadn't done in 4 or 5 years.
4, 2.
I realized, too, that the people who were sharing their stories with me, that was helping me more than anything else. And so, you know, going to In Motion and meeting other people my age who had been already living with Parkinson's for 10 years and were still there exercising, that kind of got rid of that image in my mind that, oh, I'm going to be using a walker in a couple years.
We are a complete wellness center for people with Parkinson's disease. Our wellness community is about physical wellness. It's about intensive training for specifics that you need for Parkinson's. We know that exercise is as powerful as a dose of medication for people with Parkinson's. We see it every day. We see people come in here and change before our eyes. People with Parkinson's have the power to change their script, period.
1, 2, 3. Great job, you guys. Appreciate your hard work today.
I get all teary-eyed when I think about making that right turn onto Leahy Drive towards the finish line. You know, when I was first diagnosed, I didn't think that, you know, I would even be able to run a 5K again. Just being able to be out there and push myself, I still love it. I feel the biggest goal that I could think of to accomplish when I just, you know, is the finish line at Kona. And I am so lucky to have this opportunity to do that and hopefully share it with everybody else with Parkinson's and realize that we're all in this together and we can, you know, make a difference in each other's lives.